Hello. Good morning, my dear student. I'm happy to see you after a long gap. And one thing I want to express that you all will be safe in your home because it is a very crucial situation for all of us because we are running with a contagious disease called coronavirus. So stay home and stay safe. Right now, after a long gap, we have not been in touch with English so far as my knowledge is concerned. So I want to start a poem today by which you will get some benefit, and the poem is Daffodils. Daffodil, see, you know that you have seen different types of flowers in your life because daffodil is a flower, how it creates a significant meaning in the heart of the writer in the poem, and how the poet describes the flower in such a beautiful manner. Here the poet William Wordsworth has discussed that daffodil is in his heart, mind, and he was completely emotionally attached with this beautiful flower. So right from the beginning, just now, I am going to read the poem because the name of the poem is Daffodil. See the poem Daffodil. Right now, see the poem Daffodils. It is by William Wordsworth. Right now, I am introducing the poet first. William Wordsworth is from 1770 to 1850. Is one of the major poets of his time because we know William Wordsworth is a poet of nature. He has given different poem to the English literature in the mode of various way to his gatherings, and he has given beautiful poems to the literature. And it is here when we take the name of William Wordsworth, it directly or indirectly comes to nature because he is a poet of nature. William Wordsworth is from 17 to 70. 1850 is one of the major poets of his time. He was honored as England's poet laureate. We know that he is popular poet in the English literature. He defined poetry as a spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling. So we know he was a good poet. So he has defined poetry as a spontaneous overflow of powerful meaning. When we are reading the poetry gives us more entertaining. It gives a spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling. When we are feeling depressed, we have to listen some music because it creates a different scenario in the mind of the listener. So music and poem, these are very close part of a human being. When we are stressed, we have some sort of time we have to listen to the music. Here poem is by William Wordsworth, gives different type of feeling. It creates a spontaneous feeling. It creates different type of emotions when we are reading this poem. So, arising from emotion recollected in tranquilities, because the emotion that recollected, the feeling that generates, because music, the poem, poetry, the rhythm, rhymes, it gives a special thought in the mind of the reader. So, by William Wordsworth's poetry, we can enjoy a different type of feeling to read this poetry, and this poem is Daffodil. He is a poet of nature, we know right from the beginning, because William Wordsworth is a poet of nature and used common words to express his feeling. He is a writer running from the grassroots. So his writings on the poet verse is excellent, and his poetry gives new ideas, new thoughts, new feeling and emotion to the readers, and he has given very known words, I mean simple words to his readers. Now we can go through the warm-ups here. The poem incorporates the ideas of aspect essential to romantic poetry. It is the time of romantic poetry he has given. The field of daffodils is evidently the subject of this poem. From this warm-up, this is the very important line. This is the field of daffodils is evidently the subject of this poem. So what is the subject of this poem? What is the head of the poem? What is the title that speaks? Here it is the daffodil as a title, the topic, the name of this poem. Here he is given, evidently it is a flower which captured the mind of the poet, making nature the most apparent feature throughout, because it creates a new thought in the mind of the poet and makes the nature, it is featured throughout. Throughout when he is completely go through the daffodils, it gives a new thought, new ideas to his mind. Wordsworth adds a range of natural image such as lakes, trees, stars, and even clouds in his poem. Though we know that William Wordsworth is a poet of nature, definitely he has added the most beautiful lake, trees, stars, and even clouds. These are, we can say, the beauty of nature that the poet has added in this poem, Daffodils. So nature, a tranquil mood instantly created from the very first line. We can see how the nature has captured the poet and how daffodil, it sees the mind of the writer, I mean here the poet. I wandered lonely as a cloud. When the poet moving here and there as a cloud, when he was moving with no ideas, moving with no purpose, right? Moving with no purpose. And when he was moving around, he has given a look. Here it is daffodil. I wandered lonely as a cloud. The atmosphere of the poem is very peaceful, and the use of nature creates a joyful setting. What is the joyful setting here in this poem? We have seen. So when nature is concerned and the poet is given the best to the nature, and here it is daffodil. He completely describes about the daffodil, how it captured the mind of the poet, sees the mind of the poet, and how the poet is tranquil, and how it is completely attached with this beautiful flower, daffodils. Not until the poet later muses about what he saw does it purely appreciate the cheerful side of the dancing daffodils. Here it is the warm-ups given. Is the writer completely involved in the process, how he was completely attached with this daffodils? Is the writer completely seized by these daffodils? Is the writer being sorted by this daffodil? I mean, daffodil is everything for him. Study the poem and note how Wordsworth glorifies the beauty of nature, because always he is a poet, he always glorifies the beauties of nature, because he know what is nature, because nature is above all. Nature, we can say nature is above all, even above the God. So nature is more powerful, nature is more beautiful, nature is so beautiful that it is that a human cannot explain. It is extremely beautiful. So here it glorifies, I mean giving praise to the nature, that nature is everything for us. Beauty of nature and the bliss of solitude. Bliss, when we are getting that perfect happiness from this nature, we will get perfect joy from this nature. And here solitude is when you are alone, when you are getting lot of beautiful things, you are extremely happy, you are completely attached with this. So here now I am reading this poem first right from the beginning to last. Just students, you go through the poems at least 2 times, you read the poem at least 2 times, Just you listen to me what I am going to read. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, besides the lake, beneath the tree, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending lines along the margin of the bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in springly dance. The waves besides them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the soul to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that in inward eyes, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and danced with the daffodils. This is the poem that I am going to read. I have read already, and just you see the first stanza of this poem, right? The name, and you should go for this completely poem 2 times, and just you see the first line. It gives, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here, see, the poet was completely involved in this process, though he was with aimless. Now the poet is moving here and there just like a cloud with aimless. Aimless movement is there from the poet. He was just wandering here and there at that point of time that floats on high over vales and hills. That refers to daffodils. Daffodil floats on high. Where it was? When the poet is moving here and there with aimlessly, here that daffodil floats on high over vales and hills, high over the vales and the hills. In the above the vales and the hills, it is daffodils. It floats. The movement of the flower daffodil is given a touch by the poet. It is floating. When all at once I saw a crowd. This is very wonderful time for the poet. At a stretch, he has seen such a beautiful flowers with numbers of flowers in a single look. When he has observed number of flowers in a single look, it is very interesting. It is a wonderful scenario for the poet, that when all at once I saw a crowd. Just he has observed a crowdy daffodils. Numbers of daffodils at a time. A host of golden daffodils. Completely a bunch of golden daffodils. Lot of golden daffodils that seize the mind of the poet. So where? Besides the lake. So the lot of daffodils are besides the lake and beneath the trees. So here, just listen, my dear students, it is very peaceful for the poet when he has observed such kind of beautiful flower. It is not a single flower he has observed, it is bunch of flowers at a single look he has seen. They are moving here and there in the wave, just like a wave. And besides the lake, the place where sometimes a question comes like, where are the daffodils? The daffodils it is beside the lake and beneath the trees. Where it is over the vales and the hills. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. What is breeze? Breeze refers here, it is slow wind. When in the high above the ground, it is slow wind and flutter. It fluttered the flowers just like moving here and there and danced. It is the mind of the poet. He has given a look that yes, the daffodil flowers are dancing? Because they are more happy. I am also made more happy to see this daffodil. It is the beautiful flowers, because the eye of the writer is very important here. When he observed the daffodils are in a group of daffodils, they are hosting, they are moving here and there, they are tossing their heads, and yes, it is fluttering and dancing in the slow wind, because it is the daffodil that sees the poet's mind. It is the daffodil, it gives a new thought in the mind of the poet. See, continuous as the stars that shine, because the movement of the daffodils are non-stop, because in the slow wind they are moving here and there without any stop, because the synchronizing of the flowers, it gives a new look to the poet. Here it is what we can say, yes, daffodils are really beautiful. Just like the stars in the sky, they are blinking, they are shining with effortlessly, without any stop. Here the daffodils are moving here and there, they are waving here and there with a slow wind, with a breeze, with no stop movement. I mean, there is continuous flow of waving from one direction to others, and just like the stars in the sky shines without any stops and twinkle on the Milky Ways. What is in the Milky Ways? The way they are moving, just like Milky Ways. Here it is defined the synchronizing of the flowers in a bunch of flower in a systematic order. Milky Ways in a systematic order, how they are moving, this is brilliant. It is very wondering things, that wonderful look if someone see this type of movement of these beautiful flowers. Here the poet has given his look towards he's gazing towards the flowers, he has his glance toward the flowers. Yes, the flowers are very beautiful, and what he has observed from these beautiful flowers are without any stop, how they are moving. They are moving in numbers of flowers without any disorder, orderly how they are moving. It is very important, and it is the look, it is the synchronizing, it is the coordination, it is the group work of the daffodils creates a new thought in the mind of the poet. Here, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Ways. In which way they are moving, in which manner they are moving, that is very important. They stretched in never-ending lines. So they stretched in a systematic order. How they stretched? The stretch, it looks just like no end of this line. I mean, the look of the flowers, group of flowers, how they are coordinatingly moving here and there, waving here and there, just like it keeps, yes, the line of the flowers, how they are moving, how they are tossing their heads, have no meaning, because it is very beautiful. We cannot explain, because the feeling of the writer is extremely high, and the emotion that prevails to see these beautiful flowers are excellent. So the Milky Ways, how they are moving in a numbers of flowers, because a single flowers can move, but if the numbers are moved, it is very difficult to move in a synchronizing manner, in a systematic manner. So here they stretched in never-ending line. How they stretch, just like it says that no, there is no end of this line. It is a single line that covers all the flowers with no breaks, no gap, nothing else. So they stretch in never-ending line along the margin of the bay. So here margin of the bay, though we know that it's a lake and it is a shore that says seashore, lake shore, and it gives, yes, the margin, it gives the end of the shore. Here it is the bay, means the borderline that we have seen, the borderline it speaks, and the tossing of these daffodils, how they are moving with the stretch with margin of the bay. It says there is no end of this line, there is no break of this line. 10,000 saw I at a glance. 10,000 saw I at a glance. It is one of the major part for the poet to describe, because he said 10,000. It is not that scenario that you have observed 10,000 flowers at a time. It is a rare look by the poet. Yes, I have seen 10,000 flowers, and the coordination of moving, the coordination of synchronizing is very beautiful. So here, just to see students, 10,000 saw at a glance. He is extremely happy to see the flowers numbers are 10,000, tossing their heads in springly dance. Just they are tossing their heads right from the left to right. They are in which way they are moving. This is very brilliant. With a coordinating movement here, tossing their heads in springly dance. Here it is sprinkly. It's very energetic. Just we have seen they are more active, right? The daffodil flowers are more active. We cannot imagine their patience of movement. We cannot explain how they are moving. This is very brilliant. They are energetically moving here and there with a speed, and they have their webs besides them danced, but outdid the sparkling webs in glees. The webs beside them dance, apart from their danced. I mean, they are tossing their heads, they danced all together at a time. And in which way 10,000 flowers danced with energetically, with lot of enthusiasm in their minds. They are moving with no rest, no gap, with systematically running, with lot of patience. So outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Outdid the sparkling, the glittering that we have seen, the glitters, how the golden daffodils glitters. I mean, their signs, it glitters just like waves in glees. I mean, it looks how they are happily enjoying the moment, how they are happily signing to themselves. You know, here it is glee glimpse, happy, joy, more happy, with lot of patience in their mind, with energetically how they are happily enjoying, how they are moving here and there. This is very brilliant to see. A poet couldn't but be gay. So if as a poet, if you look this type of things, how you will feel so? Definitely will be more happy. It is not that the poet he will write the poem in such a manner that how beautiful the nature is. But as a human being, we also sometimes we are captured, seized by a single rose, because we see sometimes a rose is very beautiful. Every flowers, every nature that has its significant beautiness in themselves. But see, on mind 10,000 flower. It is definitely, it's a very heart-touching moment for anyone to enjoy 10,000 flowers at a time. So here, a poet couldn't be gay. I mean, a poet couldn't but be happy, extremely happy to see such type of scenario, 10,000 flowers moving in such an energetic, happy mood, in such a jocund company. The poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. So what are the companies? Who are the companies? What type of company they are? Just you imagine, the company are the flowers. The company are, here the word it is jocund. Jocund means it's very happy company. Happy company, friendly company, good coordination between companies. Right, as a poet also involving in this process, and though the daffodils, they are moving here and there from right to left, from left to right, because they are enjoying themselves. And along with them also, the writer is also included. because the writer is also getting a jocund company, a happy company, a joyful company, sure that he can enjoy himself. Yes, this is what I'm getting, good companies to enjoy with. I gazed and gazed, but little thought. Here the line here it is. I gazed and gazed. My eyes is fixed, gazing, fixed look. Looking intentionally, right? I'm looking intentionally. I am looking to this flower, to this beautiful daffodil flowers. So I gazed and gazed. My eyes are perfectly to the particular flowers, that is daffodils. I gazed and gazed, but little thought. Little thought? I couldn't think. Yeah, what couldn't think by the writer? Because to see these beautiful flowers, he was speechless. He couldn't think. He couldn't think what to do, what to see, what to enjoy and all. Because he was completely devoted towards this golden daffodils. What wealth the sow to me had brought. So what the properties, what benefits I am getting from the sow. The sow is such beautiful that I cannot explain with wealth. I cannot explain with properties, because these are above, extremely high. We cannot get such type of enjoyment, such type of natural enjoyment from any source, that either is wealth. Here, show that the poet has given. I hear the line, just you can see, couldn't, little thought. Little thought, my eyes are there to the daffodils, but my mind speaks. It is a lot of property, because I am extremely happy with my heart. Yes, daffodils are so beautiful. It is such beautiful that we cannot explain anymore, because if I explain, that will be a very less. So just like stoning by stone, the writer is gazing towards the daffodils. What wealth the sow to me had brought. If I am looking at the daffodils, what the benefit I am getting from this sow? Because the benefit from this sow is, I cannot explain. What the poet cannot explain, because it is such a more property that it is above the wealth, above the health, above everything, above the power, above imagination. Right now I am going to the fourth stanza, that is, for oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eyes, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dance with the daffodils. Just this is the last stanza that gives a new look, new idea to the poet. It is what? This is the best part of this poem. What the observation of the poet is something different. We have seen in different stanzas, like what when the poet is wandering here and there in the poem, and what he has enjoyed, he has given. But right now, the sow that has given what to the poet? The sow of golden daffodils. I mean, when the poet, he is gazing to the daffodils, or observing where the daffodils is, what are the daffodils, how many numbers of daffodils, how the poet has enjoyed with the daffodils, and how he was seized by the daffodils. Finally, the last paragraph, or the last stanza, is about how the writer was completely emotionally attached. What is the feeling of the poet? What he was dreamed to? Just you see. For oft when on my couch I lie. Oft, often, frequently. For often, I mean frequently, when on my couch I lie. When I am lying on my couch. When I lay down in my couch. When in my comfortable chair. Couch signified with comfortable chair. When I am laying in my comfortable chair, it is often in vacant or in pensive mood. Two moods of the poem he has been given here, vacant and pensive. Two moods. Sometimes question, what are the moods of the poets that the poet William Wordsworth was describing in the poem Daffodils? The two moods are vacant and pensive. So here the poem, for oft when on my couch I lie, when I am lying on my couch, when I am lying on my chair, comfortable chair, in vacant or in pensive mood. Two moods I have given. Vacant, I mean when there is no thinking in the mind is vacant, completely blank, completely open. There is nothing to think of, vacant mind. And or in pensive mode. Two moods, one is vacant, I mean there is no thought in the mind. One is pensive. Pensive signified with there is more thought in my mind. I am thinking. Sometimes I am free from thought. Sometimes I am filled with thought. I mean when I am thinking so much, and sometimes when my mind is open, blank, or nothing to think of. Here two moods, vacant and in pensive. So he said, whether it is vacant or it is pensive, I mean when my thinking is there in my mind, two moods that he has given, for oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mode, they flash upon that inward wise. They flash upon. Who flash up? The daffodils. Why it is they? Because numbers of daffodils are there. They flash upon that inward eyes. What is inward eyes? Outward eyes, inward eyes. Eyes that we have seen, that is outwards. I mean outer things that we can enjoy. I can enjoy just like I am enjoying you people right now. This is outers. But what I am thinking myself, that is in my inward eyes. What I am thinking me inside. Just you see, they flash up that inward eyes. When I am looking, when I am closing my eyes, when I am looking, I see the outside. Just like the golden daffodils. Golden daffodils are there. Thousands of golden daffodils are there. When I am closing my eyes, or when the poet said, when I am thinking of myself inside, it is also which they flash upon that inward eyes. Flash upon, just like a flash comes and immediately go back. Just I am feeling, yes, daffodils are very close to me. It is flash upon to me. Yes, I have seen the daffodils are there. Whether it is in the outside of the eyes, yes, I have seen, and in the inside also. I mean two things, that two moods of the poet, vacant and pensive, two sides that poet is enjoying with the daffodils, that is inward and outward. I mean inside he is observing the daffodils are flash upon, and outside also. Here they flash upon that inward eyes. It is very rare when you have seen inward with some flowers. It is not only that the poet that he has given inward look to the beautiful flowers. This is daffodils. Just you student, think yourself, when sometimes you know that you all of you have some aim, you have some dream. Yes, when you are thinking of, yes, my aim is to be what, but sometimes or in your future. So when you are thinking of your aim, sometimes you have to work out for this. When you have to work out for this, you have to dream for big. When you are dreaming, it is not that when you are sleeping in the night times and you are dreaming. It is here when you have opened your eyes and dream too. You open your eyes and dream. Show that you are more aware what you are dreaming about. And if you want to go for big dreams, if you want to go for real dream in your life, open your eyes and dream. Dream always what you are thinking. So daydream is very important. When inward thinking of your dream is very important. I mean, when you are unconscious, when you are in sense, think what is your dream, and it shows in your inward eyes. So here inward thinking is very important, because you are more aware, more cautious, and you can enjoy it very beautifully. So here the poet thinking inward, I mean, he said, they flash open in inward eyes. Daffodil flash open. When he closes his eyes, he has flash open bunch of daffodils in the inward eyes. When he is opening his eyes, he has seen 10,000 thousands of daffodils in his eyes. So just you think, when the poet is looking at the flowers, or even is not looking at the flowers, also he is observing the flowers, because how the flowers, it touched to the heart and mind of the poet. It was completely involved in the process. So which is the bliss of solitude, which is very important line. Bliss of solitude. Bliss means it is a perfect happiness that you are getting. Sometimes people are said, when I will go to heaven. Heaven is a very beautiful place for enjoyment, for happiness. Here it is, bliss, that perfect happiness I am getting. I am getting perfect happiness to see the daffodils. I am getting perfect thinking, perfect, I am emotionally feeling completely to the daffodils, because I am extremely happy to see the daffodils. That is bliss. And the solitude is what? The state of loneliness. When you are alone and you are thinking about something, when you are thinking about some person, if you are really, heartily like some person, if you love some person, and if you love some work, if you love some situation, some environment, definitely it will flash in your mind. So that here the poet William Wordsworth, though you know that you are completely involved with this daffodil, show that he was dreaming of the daffodils. When he closed his eyes, daffodils are there. When he opened his eyes, daffodils are there. Daffodils, daffodils and daffodils. When everywhere he had seen daffodils, is just waving and tossing their heads. So which is the bliss of solitude? It is one of the very brilliant moment for the poet. Enjoying the beauties, laying on the bed, enjoying the beauties. Yes, it is the happiness. It is the sacred thing that I am getting from these beautiful flowers. This is the complete health, wealth and everything for me, to enjoying with the flowers by sitting. And then my heart with pleasure fills. If I am getting such type of happiness, the poet said, I am getting lot of pleasure, lot of happiness to see the beautiful flowers. I mean, my heart is filled with happiness. My heart is filled with pleasure. I am completely overwhelmed with happiness to see these beautiful flowers in inward eyes and in outward eyes. Yes, and danced with the daffodils. Just it is the mind of the poet here. Yes, how I am extremely happy with these beautiful flowers, golden daffodils. I want to dance with them. Yes, I am dancing with them in my heart. I am dancing with them in my mind. I am completely attached with these beautiful flowers. So this so has given me everything. I am in joy, happiness, peaceful, extremely happy. So in the last two lines, and then my heart with pleasure fills. My heart is completely happy with the daffodils, to see the daffodils, to enjoy with the daffodils and dance with the daffodils. Just the flowers are dancing. I am also really thankful to the flowers that let me dance with them. Yes, I am also dancing with the flowers. My mind is dancing, my heart is dancing. Here the poet said, yes, daffodil, daffodil and daffodils. Everything is for me. Daffodils are everything for me. So students, This is all about the poem. I think you will be benefited from the poem, and just you go through the questions that has been given in this poem. And so I think one thing I want to express at last, because finally I am completely involved. I am also as a teacher, as a reader to reading this poet, completely happily getting such type pleasure to read this poem Daffodils, because if you are involving yourself towards anything, things will be getting more pleasure. So I request to all of you, please heartily read this poem, so that you will also get the same taste that I am getting from the poem Daffodils. Hope you will read the poem twice at least. I am repeating again, you read it twice and get benefited from this poem, how William Wordsworth express his feeling towards the flowers. And here the flowers is everything. It is the wealth, and it is the extremely pleasureful by this Daffodils. I am also reading by this poem, getting this poem with my heart and mind. So I am extremely happy with this flowers Daffodils. So you will be happy too. Thank you. Thank you.